Hello everybody, welcome to the video. Today we are going to be going over all of the new bike changes. Oh my goodness, all the new bike changes, what everything else, like what happened, alright? So we basically had an update. It was to update the OEMs to try to balance out the game because at this point in time, everyone knew that the Honda CRF 250 and the Yamaha YZ 450, I say the CRF 250, and then the Yamaha 450 were ages better than any other bike, and so no other bike was like quote unquote viable. And yeah, they wanted to change that and headed into this motocross season. They switched things up a day before, so yeah, I don't know. It's a little interesting, but tomorrow is the first national race, so that should be quite some fun. We'll have some time on that, probably be streaming all that and whatnot tomorrow, so watch out for that. But I'll be giving you guys my top 5 250s, and hopefully you guys enjoy. If you guys do, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let's hop right into it here with the KTM. This is my 5th favorite. We're also riding Huron's new free track that'll be linked down in the description. Yeah, I guess the KTM is here now. It's like the Husqvarna, just a little bit heavier, pretty much, is the way I like to describe it. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm really happy that we have, you know, new bikes, new situations, new all that stuff. And this KTM I can see being a really good bike if someone finds the right setup for it, or if it fits, you know, one person's play style enough to the point where, you know, it becomes like their perfect bike or whatever it is. Also, yes, you guys are getting a face cam vid, so hopefully you guys enjoy that. If you guys don't, let me know. But yeah, obviously got a lot to talk about. I can't spend all the time in the world on each bike, but the KTM is definitely up there. It is top 5 for me right now in these 250s, and yeah, I don't know. I feel like there's good reason to. Some of these things just improved on what they were already good at, and this one, I mean, it's really smooth. It doesn't really, you know, take a whole lot of beans out, so it's still like a great bike for sure, but I just prefer others, especially with my sort of play style. Leading us to our number 4 bike. Now we are on our number 4 bike. Now it is the Yamaha 250. This bike, in my opinion, is probably not the biggest step up, but it's a huge step up for this thing to absolutely become a very viable bike. I'm hearing a lot of the newer player base, so a lot of the a little bit newer to the game, or you know, aren't as good, do enjoy this bike, and for good reason. You can kind of just pin it everywhere, so you know, you don't face much consequences. But yeah, this bike is really good, really fun and whatnot, so hopefully, you know, some of you guys can find your new love here in the YZ250. It is a good bike. I wouldn't call it a great bike by any means, because it's just not at that status for me, so like I don't really know where it stands with other people right now, because some people were saying that it bounces too much and whatnot, which might be true, but you don't really need that when you're newer to the game. Other than that, I mean, I feel like it is just a really good bike in general to rip around and ride. So yeah, hopefully you guys can find some joy on this bike. It's not a bad one. I went through and raced actually all these bikes, but I don't know how that's relevant to today's video. I was gonna do something with them, but it just didn't make sense with the setting that we were in. It was me and Troy were kind of in a server. I got really mad. Some of the races were horrible. I only had one good race, and that was on the Kawasaki. Spoiler, yes, the Kawasaki is in my top 5, but spoiler, is also not my number 1. So yeah, hopefully you guys can enjoy the rest of this video after me talking about, you know, pretty much the same thing with every bike on how much they improved, but it's kind of where how you get into this top 5 250 list. It's because you have made improvements. I'm not exactly what improved. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know what improved, but I know that it's just better now, and I can tell you what it does well and what it doesn't. This thing, you can kind of just twist the throttle, have no consequences. It's pretty fast. Obviously, you guys aren't seeing it in full effect here on a sand track that you kind of have to be a little bit more methodical on. But it's got good gearing and whatnot, and I think that the newer player base could definitely benefit from riding the Yamaha quite a bit. Now, as you guys are seeing right here with our number 3 bike, it is going to be the Kawasaki. So at this point, you guys probably know which two bikes are ahead. But other than that, I don't think that this bike deserves the hype. I'm sorry, Linz, but I just don't see it. I know Lynn said that this one is probably the closest to the Honda, and it could be because I'm not as good as Lynn's or whatever, but a lot of people tended to hop onto that train once Lynn said it, and I just don't see why. I don't feel like it's anything special. I don't feel like it's anything crazy. I beat a lot of good guys on it, but it was just because I liked Redbud, and they kept making mistakes, quite honestly. So I did a race on this, and it went really well, but it also, it sucked for me personally, and somehow got a top 3 behind one of the MXGP guys, Darian or something like that, and then Linz as well was, I think, won that race. It's crazy how fast he is, but yeah, I think that we're coming up here on a little bit of a skill barrier for me, where I just don't think that this bike honestly suits the lower, the lower player base with, without a setup. I think stock, this bike is not horrible, but, it's still making the top 3 list. It still has the potential to be really good. I think it's very track selection heavy, if you will. So, like, I didn't like it on, what other? I didn't like it on one track and liked it on the other. I'll put it that way. It wasn't that great on track X, but it was great on track Y. I feel like that could be a popular opinion with this. It wasn't that fun to ride, all in general. I was a lot of tensing up. It was a lot of worrying about, what could happen next, because it just feels so incredibly light, and it could change in a heartbeat. So one thing to watch out on this bike is definitely to just watch out for any crazy new things that that are gonna like wash you out. It's crazy. You can kind of like hop into a corner. Sure, you can. It's very agile. It feels like it's very light, but that's also not a great thing. All things considered, especially when you're trying to go really fast, and in one thing takes you unexpected, and boom, you have an issue. So, yeah, I don't know. It's just okay. I don't feel like this bike is anything crazy. I feel like it has the potential to be really good, especially if a setup is found. I'm definitely not ruling it out of my conversation yet, but I feel really strong about these top 2 bikes. And another thing about the Kawasaki is it feels like you can feel every bump, which obviously you could, switch setups and whatnot. You can mess with the good old, suspension and whatnot, so that's not really an issue, but you definitely feel like headed into, like on Ironman. I was on Ironman and I didn't like this bike because headed into one of the ruts, it literally, you just couldn't find like a fun way to enter it. You have to slow all the way down, and you have to kind of ease your way into it. It just wasn't ideal for me, at least in my opinion. So yeah, I don't know. I didn't like the bike particularly, but I also didn't hate it. I would definitely ride this bike before the KTM or Yamaha, and I think that it's kind of in its own tier. And then we'll head to the tier A type of bikes that are just stellar in my opinion, and both are very, 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 very good, and not leagues above the Kawasaki, but they're close to probably being a league above the Kawasaki. It's pretty embarrassing, but obviously the Honda's going to be up there, but I'll get you guys my number 2 right now. And yes, ladies and gentlemen, do not ask me what is wrong with this bike, because I can physically not answer you that. What do you mean by that, right? Right, that's what you guys are asking. What do you mean? There seems to be nothing wrong with this bike at all. Just give me a second here. Does that look all right? Where I'm holding the handlebars to where the bike is does that look all right to you? Does that look like a bike to you guys? Is that what that looks like? Not to me. I don't know what's going on, man, but I don't know. It could just be like a little something that has to do with a little thing that's just not corked out yet. So maybe it's the handlebars. And I don't know. I really don't know what's wrong with it, but I don't know. But this is my number 2 bike. I rode it on Southwick, so that wasn't fun. That was the race I did it. Like, I'm not going to use the races, but I raced it on Southwick, and that didn't go at all. It didn't go good at all, so that one was definitely an L. Other than that, this bike is incredible, to say the least. Sure, a setup could make it even better, but even stock, just right out of the box, this thing was insane. I thought it was really good. I think that I could mess with a few things and get a little bit better. But yeah, it's no surprise, I already mentioned the Honda is still my #1, but this thing is very close, and I think that I could definitely see myself racing and riding this thing. I think I'll do a 30-minute moto on this, and then also the Honda tonight, and see which one I like a little bit better. But this bike for sure is something to watch out for in the future, as it is probably one of the better bikes right now, and you'll see it a lot. And I'm curious what the top guys' opinions are on the bikes. I had Cam hop into my chat. If you guys don't know who Cam is, he just won the 250 Supercross Championship, and I don't know what he's doing race-wise, but I don't know. He popped in, and I asked him, and he was gone by the time you know, I asked him, I think. So never got an answer back on him on what he thinks is going on and whatnot. So it's a little unfortunate, but I do appreciate this bike a lot. I know Troy's really high on it, and it's definitely one that can, like, I guess, surpass expectations, even it being some people's #1s. So I think that this bike has a great chance at being the lead bike headed into Paula next week. We could see this one a lot more, because Paula, we get the track map now, so we got the track preview, so we can see what it looks like. It looks like it's going to be a lot of bumps. It looks like it's going to be a lot of patience. It looks like it's going to be a lot of that suspension related stuff. So I think that there's a good chance we could see more Husqvarnas out there than Hondas, and maybe you'll see a Kawasaki here too, even though I think that that's probably the worst possible thing you can hop on is the Kawasaki. But I don't know how the top level of players is really going to take it, so it's a little interesting for sure. And then once all these little bugs work itself out, like the front end being compressed so much, I think that we'll see, you know, just how sexy this thing is, right? It's insane. It's a really good bike in my opinion, and I can't wait for it to kind of, you know, come out of the shadows, all right? I think that in these next coming days, weeks, whatever, it'll be one of those top bikes, and I think that we'll be talking about this update as a good thing, as it's added another 2 competitors to the Honda with the Husqvarna, and possibly the YZ, and possibly the Kawasaki. So I guess we could have a few other ones. People were liking the Suzuki. KTM was getting talked about nicely by some other people. So it's nice to see that most of the bikes are viable. The TM was actually one that was like kind of stood out as something steady for people, and I was like, that's new. But other than that, I mean, I feel like we've got a pretty good thing going right now with all of these bikes and what we got going. But it seems like the 450s, same old, I haven't even touched the new ones yet. So I'm probably not going to before Paula, but I tell you, once Paula comes out, that I'm going to be grinding that track for a while. Also, let me know on the gear situation. If you want to make me gear for the outdoors, please, please, please hit me up. I'm looking for someone to do my gear if you guys are watching and whatnot, and you're good. I need some examples. You know, hit me up on Discord, join it. It's in the Discord if you guys aren't already there, and let me know, because I want to make my own gears to have that creativity and availability, but it also wouldn't, you know, I wouldn't mind someone else making it for me, someone good, skilled, talented. I would try to join a team. It fell through, and then I was thinking about just doing it myself, realizing it's kind of a hassle. And so I don't know, we'll see where I stand as the season goes on, but I think I'm gonna want, like, I think I'm gonna want it. I'm not sure about right now, but we'll see how it all ages and whatnot. But come outdoor season, which is tomorrow, which is the day you guys are seeing this actually, you know, meaning join the stream, because I'm gonna be streaming it, and it should be a whole lot of fun. Round 1, all that good stuff, trying to qualify, and just have fun in general, and see what bike we go on. But I'm gonna have to do some testing tonight for sure, and whatnot. Hopefully you guys like this video. It was a little bit different from what I normally do. A lot of stutters, a lot of speed, because this was not going to be my #1 video. I streamed for 5 hours today and intended on using stuff from that to power today's video, but obviously not going well. It was a bad idea for me. Didn't really think it out. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you guys did, consider leaving a like and subscribing. That's my only message to you before I go. So see you guys next time. Yeah, deuces.